What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, guys, so we are basically going to continue our coverage over Deathstroke Inc. Now, remember, we have been covering Deathstroke Inc., Robin, and we're going to cover Batman very soon as a way to kind of build our way up to Shadow War, a crossover event, or it is a crossover, between Robin, Batman, and Deathstroke. Now, before we're able to actually dive into that book right there, we have to cover other things before, like this video, Deathstroke Inc. Now, we're going to cover only issue number 6 and 7 because we already covered 1 through 5. Now, with that being said, you have to remember, when it comes to Deathstroke Inc., it was basically a book originally showing us Deathstroke being a good guy, which is kind of, not new. It has been done a lot of times before, but of course it was DC kind of playing that game because this time he joined Black Canary and Toyman, and they all had joined a new organization called Trust. Now, come to find out, they couldn't trust because Trust was actually a fake name being used by a different group. And of course, that group was the Secret Society. Yes, a name that has been used a lot of times. Now, the reason why we have a new version of that group right there is because they hated the Legion of Doom for what they almost did, which was be the cause for the end of the earth. Now, of course, that was all done earlier in 2019, 2020 books. But either way, though, the Secret Society came together because what the Legion of Doom almost did, which almost caused the end of the earth. And so what they were doing was taking out other villains who could possibly lead to the end of the earth. And so with them doing that, that is why they built this organization. Now, originally, they wanted Deathstroke and Black Canary to actually join. Now, Black Canary said no, but Deathstroke said yes in a very unique way by killing off one of the characters and basically saying that he is now leader of the group of the Secret Society. And so now this is the new status quo for Deathstroke, the leader of the Secret Society, which of course is going to be very interesting. And so we're going to cover Deathstroke number 6 and 7 in today's video. I do hope you enjoy. And so getting into Deathstroke Inc. number 6, we actually do pick up with Deathstroke telling all the members of the Secret Society to go after Black Canary. Now, Black Canary is actually very upset by this. And the reason why, because when it comes to Black Canary, in the earlier parts of this series, she actually believed that Deathstroke was trying to be a good guy, because in the earlier parts of this series, Deathstroke kind of told her that he wanted to be a good guy. He wanted to end his life on a good note because throughout his whole life, he kind of rode that line. And what I mean is that the line he was on was between good and bad. And he always kind of jumped back and forth between that line. And he realized that he wanted to just be on one side, which is the side of good. But of course, here we are now. He jumped back over to the side of bad. And so right now you have Deathstroke telling all the members of the Secret Society to go after Black Canary to go ahead and kill her off. And so you have Black Canary upset for what Deathstroke did, which is broken her trust. But of course you have Black Canary trying to get away before they are actually able to kill her off. Now, with that being said, you do have Deathstroke kind of catch up to Black Canary to have a conversation. Now, this is Deathstroke kind of actually explaining why he turned bad again. Because again, he rode that line for so long between good and bad, and going back and forth between being good and bad, he finally realized he can't be good. He has to be bad, because bad is the way to actually help the world out. And what he says is, I realized that I did so many bad things in my life. I hurt my family so much, my close friend as well too. There's no way I can be on the side of good, only the side of bad. And so I'm tired of jumping that line over and over again. I'm going to stay on the side of bad, but use the side of bad to be a new way of good. And what he's saying is he wants Black Canary to actually join him in the Secret Society. The Secret Society. Have a hard time saying that. Sorry. But either way, it's Deathstroke telling Black Canary, listen, if you and I are able to actually work together and control these guys, but also control other villains who could possibly try to end the Earth for whatever reason, we can actually do some good. Yes, we are working with a bunch of bad guys trying to control other bad guys, but in a way, it's still something good coming out of this. Now, Black Canary is kind of like, stop. How about you stop everything? Trying to be good, trying to be bad, stop all of it. And just go back to your family. Because we know Rose is out there. She's out there right now. And so he's kind of like, you're right. My daughter is out there, but at the same time, I just can't do it. And so it's him kind of saying, listen, this new direction I'm going in, it could possibly work. Now, he does ask Black Canary one more time to actually join him. But of course, Black Canary just dies off the cliff as a way for her to get away from Deathstroke. Now, back at the Hall of Justice, you actually do have the Justice League getting information from Oracle. Because remember, the only reason why Black Canary actually joined Trust is because Black Canary kind of got hired by Oracle. Not hired, but Oracle kind of had Black Canary go undercover. And so right now it's Oracle kind of telling the Justice League about what could possibly happen to Black Canary, because no one has heard from her in a good period of time. And so with that being said, it is Oracle telling the Justice League Black Canary could possibly be dead. Now, Green Arrow is very angry about this because Oracle nor Black Canary actually told him anything at all. Now, if you're wondering who Oracle is just Barbara Gordon, because there was a point in DC Comics she was shot and paralyzed, but she felt like she could still be part of the Batman family, and so she became like the computer person of the team and called herself Oracle. And honestly, DC fans love the idea so much, but of course with the new 52, they brought her back as Batgirl, but in like the tail end of DC Rebirth, she was still Batgirl, but at the same time not. Like, she's slowly moving away from being Batgirl and kind of repassing on the torch once again to Stephanie Brown and Cassandra Cain. But either way though, it is Oracle telling them, hey, something could have happened to Black Canary because she was working with Deathstroke, kind of being undercover to figure out if Trust could actually be trusted. But of course, that is the moment you have Black Canary walk in to tell the League that they have a big problem. And of course, that big problem is Deathstroke and the Secret Society. Now, of course, you actually do have the Justice League go back over to the location of the Crooked House, because that was where Deathstroke and the Secret Society was actually at last, where Black Canary left them at. And so she's kind of hoping that when her and the League actually go back there, they could possibly find them there. But of course, they're all gone. Deathstroke knew that she would come back with the League, and so him and his crew dipped out. Now, with that being said, you have the League kind of look around for different clues, and they're unable to find any kind of clues at all, except one, where Deathstroke left his mask on the front of the face of a picture on the wall. Of course, that picture is Black Canary's mother, the original Black Canary, as a way to say, yes, Deathstroke and his crew were here, but they're long gone, and there is a possibility that Black Canary and Deathstroke could possibly fight against one another. Now, we actually do jump over to a location called Zandia. Now, Zandia is going to be where Deathstroke and his crew are going to work out of. Now, with that being said, it is basically Deathstroke telling his crew that they're going to continue with the plan the crew had before Deathstroke had actually joined, which is going around asking villains to join the group. If the villains say no, then those guys get possibly locked up. Except Deathstroke says no. Things are going to be different. Yes, we are still going to go around asking folks to join our group, except if they say no, they die. It's a way for Deathstroke to actually control the villains around the world, being like, you have two options, join or die, and that is it. Now, while Deathstroke is telling everyone that in his new crew, you have two people right now watching him from the outside, and those two people are Rose and Respawn. Now, of course, we know Rose. Rose is basically Ravager, who is the daughter of Deathstroke. But Respawn is a new character who first appeared in the Robin series, but of course, we had no idea who Respawn was. Well, of course, we're going to find out in this video right here who Respawn is finally, because in the Robin series, other characters found out, but of course, not us readers. And so now it's time for us to find out who in the world Respawn actually is. And so getting into Deathstroke number 7, or Deathstroke Inc. number 7, we actually do pick up with Deathstroke right now. Not Deathstroke, sorry. We actually pick up with Ravager and Respawn. When I see Ravager, a lot of times my mind automatically thinks of Deathstroke because her outfit is somewhat similar to Deathstroke. But either way, we actually do pick up with Ravager and Respawn basically sneaking into the building of Deathstroke. And of course, they do give us a kind of a recap of what happened in the Robin series. Now, of course, remember in the Robin series, Robin basically went to a Lazarus tournament where, of course, at the end of that tournament, a demon rised up, and of course, Robin and his friends were able to stop the demon. Now, at the end of that storyline, Respawn and Ravager left that storyline to come over here. But either way, though, as you have these two characters sneaking around the building, trying to catch Deathstroke off guard, well, of course, Deathstroke finds and wonders what in the world is going on, especially with Respawn, who's wearing an outfit very similar to Deathstroke and Ravager. Now, this actually does lead into us finding out who in the world is Respawn, because you have Deathstroke kind of get very angry with the idea that there's somebody else dressed up like him, or like his son used to be dressed up like. And so he's wondering who in the heck is Respawn. Now, of course, when Respawn talks, of course, Deathstroke thinks it's Damian Wayne. But of course, we know it's not Damian, because Damian fought against Respawn in the Robin series, meaning that there's no way it could possibly be Damian. But that is the moment you actually do have Deathstroke unmask Respawn. And we kind of find out it's a clone of Deathstroke and a clone of Damian Wayne as well. Yes, a clone of those two characters put together in one particular body. Now, of course, you would think, oh my God, it had to be Talia al Ghul who did this. But of course, you have Ravager say, no, it's not Talia al Ghul's fault that this character was made. Somebody else made this character. And we come to find out it was Ra's al Ghul. Now, hear me out. What happened was Ra's al Ghul knew he had a grandson, Damian Wayne. But what he did was he made a bunch of clones of Damian Wayne, kind of like a backup plan. But the clones kept dying. And so what he did was when he made another clone, he made sure that clone had the super soldier serum inside of it. Now, of course, there's only one character that actually has the super soldier serum, Deathstroke. And so that is why this clone here looks like Damian Wayne, but also looks like Deathstroke as well. Now, with all that being said, you would think that Ra's al Ghul would actually train this clone, but Ra's al Ghul did not do that. Instead, Ra's al Ghul actually tortured the clone. And anytime Damian Wayne got injured, and let's say he lost a particular organ, they would take that organ from Respawn and give it to Robin. Now, the reason why Respawn was able to survive all those different kinds of torture is because, well, Respawn has a more advanced healing factor than Deathstroke does. And so that is why he's able to kind of regrow a lot of different things he lost over the years. Now, Respawn was able to escape from Ra's al Ghul, but of course he stayed hidden. And then he trained his way up to the point where he felt like he'll be ready one day to get revenge against Damian Wayne and also Ra's al Ghul. Now, Respawn went to the Lazarus tournament to just fight in there. He had no idea that he'll be actually meeting Damian Wayne as Robin now at that point. But he did. But of course, he lost to Robin. And so to Respawn, he felt like a failure because he still wasn't able to get his revenge against Damian Wayne and also Ra's al Ghul. And so that explains the entire origin of Respawn, the new somewhat child of Deathstroke. And so now the big question is, how will Deathstroke feel about a clone of him being around now? And of course, to Ravager, his daughter Rose, you would think that, or she would think, sorry, that basically her father would not like the idea of a clone of him running around. But that is the moment you have Deathstroke say, he's my son. Now, of course, you're kind of like, no, he's not your son because he's a clone of you. It doesn't mean he's your actual son. He's just a clone of you, and that's really it. But to Deathstroke eyes, Respawn is his clone. Now, of course, the reason why Deathstroke feels like this, because he feels like Respawn is kind of like life giving Deathstroke a second chance to be a father to a son. Because remember, Deathstroke had other kids. They're both dead though. And so it's basically Deathstroke feeling like, okay, this is life or God or whoever giving me the second chance to actually be a father to a boy. I've been a horrible father to my daughter, but maybe I can fix that and also get a chance to be a great father to a son. Now, of course, Ravager is pissed. She's kind of like, wait a second, you're going to tell me that you look at this clone and say he's your son when he is a clone? That's not right. That's wrong. She's also upset with her father with the idea that he's being a bad guy now and making an army of bad guys on top of that as well. Now, of course, she thinks that Respawn is actually going to leave with her because Ravager is like, I'm out. Yep, you're crazy, dad. I'm out. Bye. But of course, you have Respawn actually throw Ravager out the window to show us that Ravager is going to stay with Deathstroke because to Respawn, he finally has a parent, somebody who actually loves him. And so for Ravager, she's kind of like out the window. And the question is though, how angry is she? But to close on this book, we actually do pick up with Deathstroke telling his new son Respawn that they're going to have to get ready and get ready for a war to come. Who, if anybody tries to stand in their way, they're going to kill that person who gets in their way. And so this is actually the ending of this video. But of course, it leads into Shadow War. Now, we still have to cover Batman to kind of help us get ready for Shadow War. But yeah, all of this leads into Shadow War, a crossover between Batman, Robin, and Deathstroke. With all that being said, I do hope you enjoyed today's comic book video. And if you did, please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, I'll see y'all next time. Later.